everyone. I'm back with another episode of Studio Dialogues. And today I have with me Anna Massinissa, an artist, president of the Inarte Association, curator of Fabriano Inacquarello Convention, founder of the International Watercolor Museum, and someone who's worked tirelessly to further art, culture, and artistic expression on an international scale. She graduated as an industrial designer and has had long professional experience in marketing and communication. She's an inspiration as an artist and as a human being, and her energy and passion is evident in her tireless work and dedication. So let's join her in a conversation that will be exciting as well as illuminating. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for coming on Studio Dialogues. I really appreciate you taking time out for me.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good.
And I'm very happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And I know you're really busy with so many events all the time and all, but I'm hoping that this conversation will help some of the upcoming artists, especially the topics you're going to discuss today. But before we start with that, I'd love to know a little bit about your childhood, Anna, and about your younger years where you started with art. And it'll be lovely to know what inspired you to pursue art as a profession.
So you want to know when I started with art? I believe in destiny. And I believe in inspiration and also in determination. And maybe in my destiny, art was already in. And inspirations I had from all my educational life, from the family, from the school, from the many friends I had that probably were very creative. As a kid, as a children, you usually apply the creativity and the art also by the game or the relation you have with people. So probably all my growing life was kind of experiencing the beauty of being connected to art, to creativity. And so as a kid, I liked a lot to plan and to do drawing, to work with communication since that time. And that's it. Then probably I had very good teachers. And this is a chance that life gives you or don't give you. So for sure, I have to thank a lot the very primary school teachers I had that were very illuminated minds and that brought me and my friends, my little friends at the time, to do great experience with drawing, with painting, and even with experimenting application of the applied art. And later I had a great teacher also in secondary school. And probably at that time of my life, I had already decided that I wanted to deal with art, with artistic matters in any field I was going to develop my life. And the other field I grew very close to was the observation, the study of the cultures, the world cultures, the very different cultures in the different countries. And this was also inspiration for me to understand what was the man attitude to the arts, to the relation between the people. And I loved it very much. When I was in secondary school, I was 15 years old, just by chance. Mm-hmm. I got to know about this scholarship that was doing exchange between classes, and I tried to apply to. It was kind of a contest, and really by chance. I think I won the scholarship. So when I was 16 years old, I had the possibility to join Dublin in Ireland. So it was a completely different language, another culture, and a very different situation from the situation I was living in Italy. And the big chance there was to have the possibility to live 1 year in this different culture, even if it was anyway Europe, but you know, in Europe we come from very different roots. So the Anglo-Saxons origin was very different from the Mediterranean. I had been living, we live in Italy. And the big chance was that during the year I spent in Dublin, I had the possibility to spend a lot of time with people coming from all over the world, like United States, North Africa, and North Europe, and many different places. And maybe it was already in my DNA, but probably that time, you know, when you are just a little bit more than a grown-up, yes. And you start watching at life with a very deep emotional mood. This made the difference. So when the year was finished and I was going back to Italy to finish my study and to go on with my life, I promised myself that I would have do that during my life, and I would deal with art, creativity, and I would have deal with the culture of the world.
Wow.
And it is a chance that later I did, yes. Because then you never know what life brings you up to do. So it is a chance that I did. But I remember very deeply that I promised myself that I would have do that.
That's amazing. I mean, it's really wonderful because we know that you're doing that now. I mean, to the more, you know, to the deepest sense, actually. And what I love about Europe is the number of museums and the deep-rooted culture of art. And even in schools, in your primary school, you have so much exposure to the great masters and all the, you know, opportunities to learn about art. So it's there with you since when you're young, you know, when you're a sponge and you're soaking in all the information. So, you know, I'd love to know who are the masters or, you know, the famous artists that who influenced you, and, you know, why their work was so influential to you as a person.
If you mean famous masters in art, history of art, yes. Yes. I don't think that there is anyone in particular that I loved more. In Italy, you know, we are very much influenced by the history of art from the Renaissance and from the medieval. We live in an open museum all our life long. We don't even realize. Italian people don't even realize. Actually, you only realize when you go abroad and then you compare what it is in your own home. So going back to your question, I don't have one particular artist who have influenced me. I loved a lot as a student, for example, when I was in university. I loved a lot during the exams about the 19th century, the modern art, or what was going to become the modern art. So all the people from the south of France, like Van Gogh, Monet, Manet, and all the community, that was a great community of artists doing art together, sharing a lot of emotional art and experimenting a lot. That was a period that I loved a lot. As a style of art, I do like a lot at the moment also. It is a love that I probably have because of my personality. I love a lot Chagall, Marc Chagall, from Russia, and later he lived in France, and he's a very emotional, a very structured artist. He worked with a lot of never did art just to do design. He worked with a lot of concept. He's a full storytelling all the time long. And yes, I think I loved a lot to study all the history of art from the beginning of the century. Later on, when I started to do myself, I allowed myself to do art. I started doing a lot of contemporary art. I didn't start with watercolor. I started with modern art, contemporary art. So I worked a lot as a conceptual artist, and in a way I still do, because also all my watercolor life was done on concept, is based on concept. And I also did a lot of installation of three-dimensional job. I worked a lot for the theatre, for the scenography, for the design applied to art. As a student in university, I studied design when industrial design was a new topic, and I remember my parents were asking me, but what are you studying? What is it about? It was the very beginning of the design in Italy, and then spread all over Europe, all over the world. And so what I want to say is that I moved from one art to another art to another art, because all is expression, all arts are expression, and this is important. Yes. And then you develop a sensitivity.
What we learn from one kind of art always carries over to the next one. So, you know, yes, you can take your learnings from one to the other, obviously.
There is no limit. The door is open when you go from one to another, fortunately, thank God. The door is open, and the more you do in one field, the more you are able to do in any other, and your mind grows in idea, grows in knowledge, and in everything.
Yes. Great, great. So, you know, in 2006, I believe you founded Inarte as an organization. So I'd love to know a little bit more behind the philosophy and why you started Inarte.
I started, yes, in 2006, I started the society that is called Inarte. It's a no-profit society, and it is based on the will to be involved in art. The Inarte Society was developed in 2006, but I had been working together with a group of artists based here in Fabriano, the town where I was born and where I decided to live later on. With those artists, we shared for many years applying art in the contemporary art fields. And we decided to create the society, because we thought that we deeply believe, and I still do, we still do. And all our life was based in art, and art is something that makes the difference in your life. You are anyway a person, you have a family, you have a life like all the other people. But if you have the gift to be able to do art in any ways, theater, not only applied art like painting, but in any field. If you have this gift, you live better. It's kind of all the discipline from art therapy, for example, come from this belief. And we also, with those people, shared a feeling that art should have been a social attitude, to share the knowledge, to share the time we live together, to share also the art application. And we all were very much inspired by the sustainability, new disciplines that were growing at that time. Now we talk about sustainability and nature, and the love for nature, and the respect that we have to have through the connection to our earth and to each other. Now it is a topic that is very strong. That time it was only at the beginning. So we thought that the society should have take care of the possibility of everyone in our town, in our land, in Fabriano places, to have something to do with art, because it could have developed their life like it was like we experimented for ours, and that the relation between the people could also have been improved by the making art together, And the relation with the land, we thought was also very important. If the relation could be built by the people involved in the society together and the people working with art in the land and in the respect of nature altogether. And this was the base where all was developed. Then, of course, we live in Fabriano, and you know Fabriano is connected to the paper because the roots of our land is the paper that is handmade in our land since the medieval time. Later, it developed into a very big factory, the Fabriano paper factory, that now is called Federigoni. Fabriano Federigoni is very big, is very large, is one of the biggest in the world. So paper is actually a matter in our life. If you do art in Fabriano, you have to do art on paper. So immediately you understand that doing art on paper, as long as you decide that you start doing art on paper, you start working with watercolor, especially if you are connected to the respect of nature, the respect of the sustainability of the earth, and watercolor, once you get inside, you feel that you have reached something that you will never leave.
Yes, I agree totally. So is it that sense of sharing and learning which led to, creating Fabiano Convention as a gathering of people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The Fabriano Inacquarello was born later. It was born about in 2009, officially in 2010. But we started doing meetings, events about also international events about watercolor a little bit earlier in 2008, maybe 6 or 2007 or 2008, maybe. I don't remember. It's a life ago.
It has probably gone from being maybe some international meets to what it is today, which is like hundreds and thousands of people convening together in such a beautiful atmosphere. So anything that you particularly remember about its evolution and how it came to be the way it is now? How it has evolved?
It was evolved in a scientific way. Mm-hmm. Because once I started with my group, not only myself, with the group, once we started doing art on paper and working with watercolor, we started to get in connection with the people in Italy, then in Europe, then all over the world. And maybe it is because of my work, my job. In the meantime, I had started a job in a real job, not no profit society, a profit society in art, in marketing and communications. You know, so it was part of my job to analyze what were the faults and what were the needs inside the watercolor field. And I found out very soon, I realized that the biggest fault in the field of watercolor was that watercolor in Europe was not so much known as it deserved it to be. It was considered some old way of painting, and it had not developed in the research like all the other contemporary art. And the other fault, the very bad fault, was that the people connected to painting and to watercolor art were very much in competitions to each other. And competitions is never good. Not even in the business, because when competitors decide to get together, competitors make the matter become very big, very important. And as a professional, I have been working a lot in the field of conference meeting, of organizing event where like scientists or producer or of any kind of things or any matters were joining together in a place, and they were doing a convention to share knowledge, to even to be competitors, but to analyze the state of art in their field. And by the conference meeting in any field I had followed in my professional life, I knew that anytime the matter was analyzed and shared together, after the convention, any competitor was going home with new ideas, with new energy, and with actually something important to be spent. And this was good for the state of their own business, and it was good for the market, and was good for the development. Think about the scientists, for example. The science field is very much organized in business matters, but is also very much organized in conventions where the scientists or the technicians, the technologies are analyzed together, and even from different countries. And this gives a lot of help to the business to grow and to go on, to the science, to the research to go on, medicines also. We saw how fast the vaccine for COVID was developed, because all the societies in the world and all the countries in the world. So I thought that watercolor needed, second, deserved to be organized in a convention, maybe a biennial convention every 2 years, or a year convention. And I proposed it to the Italians first, later to the European, and then we started to connect, to invite at the convention also the people from all over the world. And this is how Fabriano Inacquarello was born, because actually Fabriano is a convention where all the artists of the world are invited to participate, and no competition, only, as you know, because you participated, only joy, sharing and learning and discussion, sometimes even discussion where people do not agree on the matter, but even a time where your mind is curious to be open, and it opens, it analyzes, and when you go home, you have to maybe sometimes even to start again, to find your own style, your own nature, and, but you feel full of energy.
Absolutely, I can vouch for that. So I didn't understand the philosophy behind Fabriano, but it's so interesting to know how scientifically you have put it together, because it's one of the industries which aren't so organized everywhere in the world. So now it gives it a platform, right, where people can exchange ideas without thinking of competition first. It's more to share and discuss and learn. So when you actually go somewhere with the mindset of learning and enjoying that process, I think you go back with a win, right? Everybody goes back a winner. So, the competition.
Did you feel it? I interview you now. Did you feel also this same attitude?
I think my life changed, because before Fabriano, I didn't really know who I was and what I was doing in the art field and why I was there. And I think Fabriano to me meant I guess, I don't know, a whole world opening up, where you actually just the possibilities that you see, the amount you learn is 50,000 times what you would do sitting in your house. So yes, that kind of learning is, I think, very, very valuable, and so amazing. I'm a big fan.
You know what, Shinka, there are 2 points that comes in my mind now. The first one is that actually maybe competition never gets off, because it's in human nature, and it is also in the business nature, of course. So in a way, it is even a good instinct that push you to do more, to do better, to grow higher. So actually, let's say it never stops. But it is good that for a few days, and usually Fabriano Inacquarello meeting is 3 days, 4 days. So it is good that for a few days you take it apart. Okay? Yeah. And you use it, you keep using it, but in those days you open your heart and you give yourself a chance, okay? And this is one. And the other thing that I think it's important is about, I go back to the first question you asked me, which artists were important in my life as a teacher. And what I realized during the Fabiano Inacquarello, more than I did before in the contemporary art field, is that when you start doing this challenge of sharing and trying to apply the relational art, the socializing art, you understand that every person you get in touch with and you have a relation, you start a relation, even if the person comes from a very far away culture that is very different from yours, or the person is in his personality very different from what you are, in the style, in the way to apply art. Anyway, you get a teaching from the person you have beside. And if you are able to understand it and to use it your own way, because this is something important also, you can not only be a sponge and take. You also have to go home and elaborate and research and understand what had happened. But all those people were, even the humble one, even those who think they have nothing to teach you, all the people you get in connection with, you have something to learn.
Absolutely. Them. I totally agree with you. Yes. It's just so much inspiration all around you, right? I mean, everybody's inspiring.
This is
so, coming to another thing that I wanted to know from you. So there are so many young artists who have been working with dedication for a few years, and they've been growing and finding their own style and doing good art. Now, in your opinion, what is the future possibilities for such an artist? The question of what next can they do to further their art or their business of art, and how can they use art to also earn money to create business possibilities and earn a living from it.
I think what they can do for themselves, or what we can suggest them to do, is not far away from what we have discussed about Fabriano Inacquarello, about art being important in my life. But in this field, art is not different from any other field where the people wants to grow a life or to grow a business, for example. So those artists, and this is I think it is an attitude that it is the same. It doesn't change for watercolorists than from other art applications like theater, music, or any other field of art. Those people, and even for the new coming artists, not only for those who have already started and want to go on, those people should divide their life from the side where you use emotion, the side where you use pragmatism, technologies, scientific analysis, and planning, investigations, and investment. Because I again leave my artistic side and come to my professional side as a marketing and communication business. When you organize a business, and art in many ways is a business, if you want to earn money for your life, you have to be very careful in taking care of these three fields that I have just said: emotions, pragmatism, and investments. And in any field you organize a business, you have to analyze a lot and to search a lot, like I did for Fabriano Inacquarello at the very beginning. And you have to have a clear mind and not lie to yourself. So you have to exactly know what you are, what you can give to your customer, and exactly what you can do and where you want to arrive. And there are many schools of marketing in the world, very good one actually, that can help us to make up our mind and to grow a plan and organize planifications for our activity. So matters like going to do a marketing school, a workshop, even a short one or an online one, or to join a university or a college where you can seriously understand how to grow your planification, are very important. And inside the marketing plan, you have to again set up your mind in a marketing plan, in a financial plan, in financial planification, in a strategy planification, a visibility planification. So all is connected inside all these matters. And if we go back to the new artist, the coming artists, and those that have just started and want to grow their visibility and their business, if they believe that they want to sell the paintings, or if they want to say they want to teach, do the teaching, or anything else they can sell as a service in the art field. They can not go through the planification of all the plan. And this has to do with the research of audience, the analysis of the audience, the analysis of the possibility to have, to open a market and to open your own market. And maybe even before, to understand if what you are able to do is enough, or if you need to be going to another school again and to grow more in technologies, or in quality, or in strategy, or whatever, you understand? So we are going in a field that is very technical, actually, and it is very unexplored during the Fabriano Inacquarello. Maybe we should open an eye in next convention even to this word, because this is a word that personally each person who wants to earn money out of creativity, if you are you able to sell your the service you want to spread to your audience? Are you able to reach the audience? Do you have an audience? Yes, I am. No, I am not. I need a selling company. So maybe you also will need to be sincere, and you will need you will understand that you need a team to help you. Because your personality sometimes can be that you are very shy and you don't want to deal with people, you don't want to talk about money, so you need someone else to do it. Those are there are millions of topics that in the marketing field that have been for very long analyzed, because marketing is a scientific discipline since the beginning of the 19th century, and there are millions of different ways to apply it, and all have to do with the planning, all have to do with research, and all have to do with the planification.
So they need to study not just their art, they also need to study how to sell it or how to market their whatever service that they're providing.
Yes. Research skills. It is very important in art field. It's very important to have a research skill. Research is not every artist is able to do, but research is it is even very important for competitors. Without research and without the 19th century history of art in France, Monet, Manet, Van Gogh, Gauguin, that they lived all their life to do the new research in art. Without them, today the contemporary art would be nothing. We would still be in the medieval or in the Renaissance style.
The one thing you also learn from being in a place like Fabriano for the convention is community, for instance. wherein you're not a single person living. We're all interconnected with culture, with communication, with the inspiration comes from each other. So I think the value of a community is very underestimated sometimes. And I think more than ever, COVID has, the whole pandemic situation has put it into focus that what's missing right now is the interaction. But we have to do our research and figure out ways of getting together and sharing our information and our knowledge.
Well, Shinka, sometimes even keeping a secret. Why not? Why not?
Yes, of course.
But then anyway, there is a moment when, if you are a businessman, so if you are an artist who wants to be in the market, who wants to be in the stage, even if you don't sail, you don't do sailing, but you like to be in the stage for the stylish or for the curators, like I do, for example. Sometimes you have to keep the secret for a moment, but that there is a time where when you come to the point to share.
Yes.
It's not possible not to do.
Yes.
Because if you don't share, you don't give yourself visibility, and you don't give yourself the chance to be a social person. And if you are not a social person, you don't do the sale. If you are not a social person, you are not going to do the convention with a lot of people coming. So at the end, all is connected. Creativity
also
is the first goal, and then the relation in the local community field, or in the national community field, or in the international community field. You cannot do.
You cannot.
We cannot live without it. Growing an audience that can be commercial or can be also the fan club, if you like it. Growing an audience and growing your visibility in front of your audience, it's also very important. People don't take enough this topic on the right attention, and for some artists it is this point is very hard to do, because some artists that they are what I call the lonely artists. Yes. They only like the relation with art, and they stayed inside their house in their studio, and they paint all the time. That is beautiful. It is what I love also. It is the state of grace, that the time when you grow the relation between you and the creativity. Yes. And you feel like in heaven. But then if you don't grow the audience, or someone else does it for you, there is a point when you have your studio is full of papers, full yes. of artworks, or anything else in the field, or music, if you are a musician. And if you don't share, you are a half artist. Michelangelo, from the Renaissance, he defined it the state of grace. Leonardo also, and it is the time when you grow the relation between yourself and the expression you are building through the art. But it is like if you grow the relation between yourself and your interior, or your mind, or it's something that it is very close to religion, that is very close to the spirituality. And that maybe is the best moment. Yes. And that is the bigger gift, because sometimes some art, I know some artists that they tell me that they had never tried this mood in their life, and it's a pity. Yeah. So what I suggest is to the people who wants to grow, is also to take their time and to do research, and try. And even someone will kill me, even copy the other artist, but do it as a study. Yeah, and as a starting point to study and to go on and to search your way, because your way at the end is not a painting that is beautiful or it is well done, but it is the relation that maybe 1 minute or maybe 10 yes. hours, the relation in the art moment when you lose the you lose the feeling of who you are, or maybe you get the best feeling of who you are, and you do art. This is the best joy.
Absolutely. And I think that's what the audience sees in your work, that connect. If you are connected to your art, I mean, other people will be connected to it.
But there is a testimoniancy that I want to give you, and it is very important. During those past 2 years of COVID, I'm not going to tell you her name, but one of the artists inside our community in Fabriano was COVID ill. And she was very, very bad. She was very COVID sick, but not light, very badly. She was in therapy, in the hospital, in strong therapy. And she told us that when she was brought to the heart therapy, she was brought together with maybe other 10 people, and she was the only one to survive. So just believe me, she was very bad. Wow. And when she was in a little bit better, she asked the hospital people, the doctor, to bring her paper and colors. She wouldn't paint, but she was given pencils and this kind of thing. And now she told us about it, and this is a big gift that she gave to us also. And she used that moment to go out of her illness, to face her illness. Wow. And so you understand how art can be important and how art can make the difference in your life. Instead of taking medicines, that for sure she took, but she understood that the art, that the pure, the joyful moment she could live with art could improve her health better than a medicine. Yes. And she used it a lot. And now she's witnessing. She's well now? Yeah, it is a very strong testimonial. It's important. Wow.
That is incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely it is.
Yes, art is healing, of course. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Like I told you, Anna, when my family and I got COVID, it was scary. It was not so bad for us, but it was fearful for us because my children, and you worry that your husband, who's, something happens to any of them, it's, an end to your family, right? And so I think what helps you is, I would every day see the art in my phone feed, in Instagram, and I would say, no, I have to get back to this. I have to get back to this. And that, I think, is what heals you from inside.
You make me, when you have, you feel cool.
It actually heals
because you have a big emotion. Shinka, I remember because when it was the very same moment when you had COVID, it was the very same moment that I asked you to help me with Inacquarello. And I appreciated it a lot because you told me that you were COVID, but you told me I will do.
Yes. I know the exact moment.
Was so strongly said that I appreciated it a lot. And I said, this girl, she's going to be out.
Because for me, that was like, Anna, it's like, thank you for giving me that opportunity. Because, all I could think in that entire month was, I am going to do that interview. I have to get well. And it works.
But you expressed it so strongly and you expressed it very well that I knew it was going to help you. We must tell people about this. We must talk about this a lot more. This is as important as doing art is. So we go back to the Inarte. Inarte was born for this because I felt that we should tell the people more to do art, and any kind of art. Art is also cooking, is also doing well any kind of job, but using creativity and giving the best of you in a special moment.
I want to really thank you, Anna, for talking to me today, and I know the audience is going to love what you said. It's inspiring and it's motivating, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you. See you soon. For sure we will.
Yes. See you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.